So this weekend was the world premiere Splatfest for Splatoon 3, allowing everyone to try out the game before release, something I really appreciate, especially when it comes to online games. I think it's important to let people see how it performs, how it plays prior to release, particularly on top of that when we're talking about Nintendo games, which certainly aren't always the best. I spent a bunch of time with it while it was live, so I wanted to share my thoughts on it today. First off, just entering this world. Initially, you do some brief customization on your Inkling, as well as your little buddy who sadly you don't really get to mess with much in this demo, and then you head from this outside wasteland into town. This hub is absolutely beautiful, especially with it all bumping for the Splatfest. You know, when it gets into Splatfest mode, the city always comes alive. Just looks so cool. I had a ton of fun just walking around, checking out the area, as well as all the other players and their messages. Splatoon, it's kind of bittersweet, but this really is like the last remnants of the Miiverse era. Seeing the messages from players is such a neat way to interconnect them, make the game more social, especially with the Splatfests going on, people, you know, hyping up their team, being like, if Rock wins, I'm gonna throw my Switch in a lake, or if Scissors loses, I'm gonna cut my Switch in half, shit like that. Damn, you know, I think about it and it's like, how the hell did Nintendo, see, now I'm gonna get pissed about something I didn't even plan to get pissed about. How did they have something that was as cool and unique as the Miiverse on the Wii U when the online for Nintendo was free, and then on the Switch, they start charging us for the online and take the one cool aspect away? Feels bad. Feels very bad, man. But yeah, it's kind of nice that it still sort of lives in the Splatoon games. Unfortunately, you can't interact too much with, like, the stores and that. They definitely wanted you to just, you know, get in and play some games. Still got to check out the new lobby waiting room. I think what they did here was great, having the people that are on your friends list who are playing, you know, show up. It gives it, again, more of an added sense of liveliness, while also making it much easier to party up and stuff. You go up to them and it'll say, like, hey, I'm looking for people for, you know, a standard pro game, or, you know, whatever. Sad, though, during the Splatfests, when you discover some of your friends chose a different team than you and you can't play with them, as I'll get into in a bit. If you chose any team other than me, you certainly made a better choice. I'll fully admit that, big man fam. Gah. Whew, yeah, we're not quite there yet. But yeah, being able to test out weapons while waiting for matches before you even queue up for matches is cool, especially when you've got so much rust like me. I mean, I had to remember what, like, a lot of the different guns in that even did, because it's been a while since I've played Splatoon 2. And the matches themselves, I had a blast playing. Sure, this is still very much Splatoon. They didn't reinvent the wheel or anything, but it's such a unique style of game. It feels nice to come back to. When you think about a lot of other shooters, there isn't that much that sets them apart in their different spaces, like a Battlefield versus a Call of Duty. They're different. I'm not trying to say they're all the same, guys, but they certainly aren't as different as Splatoon is from other shooters. So when you're coming back into it, especially after a longer hiatus, it just feels nice. And while, yeah, I haven't played one or two in a while, I felt like this just played better overall. It just felt better. The online ran amazingly well, super smooth. After I did the video bitching about the online in Kirby's Dream Buffet, what was that, last week? This was a very nice change of pace from that. I don't think I even lagged once. No disconnects or anything like that. The new weapons in that are pretty sweet. That, what is it, the Akira bike shark floaty thing? The Reef Slider. I think that thing is awesome. That is the highlight in terms of new weapons to me. I'm going to need to have that special weapon on me, like, at all times. So fun to use. Great way to close the gap and just dump on people. We only got the standard Turf War for the most part, so I didn't get to play, like, the other modes in that. I mean, there's nothing really crazy going on there anyway that you need to play. But after the halfway point of the Splatfest, the new Tricolored mode goes live, where the winning team has 4 players face off and defend essentially against 2 teams of 2 players from each of the opposite teams. And it's not like they're on the same team, they're, on their own teams even still. This was freaking tough. I think anybody who was on Team Scissors, the winning team going into this, will admit, I think it's definitely stacked super hard against the winning team. You don't really have any safe area. You know how the further back in the zones in normal play, it's tough for the enemy to even get to them. Not for the defending team here. You're basically just out there in the middle of the map with the other 2 teams collapsing on you. I still think this was a lot of fun to play, even though I didn't win a single match. I think a big part of the problem is it's tough without communication because normally, you're pushing out in one direction in Splatoon. You have a one-front war. The map is cut in half down the middle. You push forward. The other team is pushing forward. One ends up taking more turf. For the winning team here, one team is coming in from the left side of the map onto you, and the other is coming in from the right side onto you. So if you're not communicating, being able to be like, okay, you 2 go cover this way, you 2 go cover this way, it's very easy for your team to get caught up defending one side and just have the other side come steamrolling in without any opposition. And then it's like you start to see that, oh shit, we gotta go over to this side. And then everybody goes over to that side and the other side starts charging right in. It's tough. But I get that this is meant for the other teams to play catch up. Like, it's supposed to be hard for the winning team. And it'd be okay maybe if it didn't affect the actual results as much or something. But that's not the case. Nintendo just posted at the time of this recording the results from the Splatfest, and Team Scissors went from being in the lead to dead last with, 0 goose egg. So if this doesn't prove that there needs to be heavy rebalancing to this mode, I don't know what does. It would suck if the team that's winning going into the second half of these Splatfest when the Tricolor mode goes active typically ends up losing the whole thing coming in dead last because they're always getting stomped in those Tricolor battles. Like, the strategy would become just don't play until the Tricolored mode goes live. And I really like the idea. Again, I wouldn't want them to totally drop this aspect, but it needs some major retooling. And there was another big issue I had with this. The winning team can't queue for Tricolor Turf War. If you go to that section, like when you're in the menu selecting what type of game you want to get into, you get this error message saying you can't queue for this mode specifically. Instead, when you're on the winning team, you just randomly get put into a Tricolor game when you're queuing in the standard open mode. So you just go, you queue for the standard games, and you just have a chance for it to randomly put you into a Tricolor mode match. I have so many problems with this. For one, just bundling this in with the standard open game, you've got to deal with the random chance. If you want to specifically play this, you may just get into a regular match instead. Could end up stuck playing multiple regular matches before actually playing the mode you want to play, and vice versa. Like, if you don't want to play Tricolor, you just want to go and play the standard mode, you could also get stuck playing something you're not trying to play. And with that random factor, you can't properly prepare. Like, you pick your loadout before going into the game, and you may have different setups that you like to use in different modes. Obviously, if you don't know what mode you're going to play, you can't really prepare, which also feeds into other aspects of the Splatfest, because again, people on the other team get to pick. Do I want to do a standard open game? Do I want to do the Tricolor? And then equip what I want for those modes where we don't get to. Again, you may have a different setup you want for the standard mode and the Tricolor. Too bad. You better just hope you get lucky, I guess, and you have the right stuff for what you're going to play. Beyond that, this really amplifies a big issue many fans have with this series in terms of time-gated content. And it's one of those things, I kind of forget how irritating it is before I get back into something like Splatoon. I mean, even aspects like only having 2 stages playable at a time feels so lame, especially since most of the time you're probably only playing like once a day. It's not like you're going to play a game or two, take a break, come back in an hour, play another game or two, and so on and so on. Like, you probably, I mean, at least this is how I am for the most part. When I go to play a game, I sit there, I play it for a couple hours, shut it down, and I'm done for the day. And if that's how you play, you're going to end up just playing the same couple of stages over and over again during your session. Obviously, there's also the salmon run, only being open at certain times, especially with that being a totally separate co-op type experience. That's very annoying for people who don't want to really focus as much on like PvP. Maybe you just want to play the story, the challenge stuff mostly, and then also play with your friends in Salmon Run. But this Tricolor stuff is really on a whole nother level, because it's like, okay, this mode is only available not just during Splatfests, which already aren't happening that often, but it doesn't kick in until you get past the halfway point. And so on top of that, you have this small window of the Splatfest. Half of that window, this tricolored mode is going to be live. And on top of that, you're going to make getting into those games random for people. Again, on the winning team at least. It's like, yeah, just make sure you're able to play on a Sunday from 6 to 10 on the night of a full moon during a leap year, and you have a 50-50 chance of being able to play this mode. Come on. Are you serious? And I get the reasoning of queues perhaps being longer. The winning team probably has more people playing on it. They also have more per game, though, 4 from them and 2 from the other 2 teams. And also, like I said, you're going to lump people who may not want to play Tricolor mode. Okay, you're going to have people who perhaps just want to play a standard open game get funneled into this. So how does that help? How does pushing people who don't even want to play this mode into it help the queue time? Unless the reason you're doing it this way is actually because you're worried that once people realize the winning team is always getting stomped in the tricolored mode, that when it goes live, people who are on the winning team just aren't going to queue for anything like this at all. So you have to try to force them into it, which, yeah, that's not very fun. This just feels like another thing where Nintendo is far behind the competition. Like, you could easily have a menu where you select what modes you want to queue for, and then run it, and whatever comes up first, it puts you in. And then if you want to play something specific like Tricolor when it's live, you just select Tricolor, and yeah, maybe your queue is longer, but it's only active for a short period. Why not let people wait if they want to? Give people the option. I mean, tons of online games I've seen do this, where you select what mode you want to get into, and it gives you a little estimate like, hey, this may take a few minutes. Again, for something that's so rare, it's like, maybe you only have an hour or so during the Splatfest to play this mode. You may not even end up getting in a game. And then you got to wait till the next Splatfest? I don't know. I think that's so dumb. And when Nintendo is improving some of the other features like grouping and that, this sort of stuff just is going to stand out more. Like, as the quality of other areas of these games improves, still having this stuff that just feels, I don't even want to say archaic necessarily. It just feels stupid. A lot of this time gating stuff. But yeah, as other things improve, it's going to be more noticeable. So if there's one thing, well, I mean, just balancing the tricolored stuff is a big thing I'd plead with Nintendo about with this game. There's another thing. It's really all of the ways you're time gating this stuff. Like, how much of, really sit down and think, how much of it is really necessary? Because that's pretty much the only big thing I think that's holding this experience back. I had a great time with the Splatfest overall, like I said. I think it's a lot of fun, feels great to play. The online felt awesome. I'm digging the new weapons, and certainly the quality of life improvements they're making, but the content time gating is definitely something they should take another look at. Anyway, with that, this video's a wrap. Let me know your thoughts on the Splatoon 3 Splatfest demo world premiere in the comments. Did you participate? What did you think of the game overall? And are you planning on picking it up? As always, I'm the Shy Guy, Johnny Zakari, and thanks for watching.